You did mention the Multicultural Act. Can you, in 1 minute, tell us what that's all about?
So the whole purpose of the Multicultural Act is to bring that inclusivity for all the different types of the ethnic communities that we have, and it's to ensure that we have a voice on legislation, to see what are the things that we actually need to have in the Act so that we can use the Act.
Talk me through your experience with mental health.
Mental health has changed, especially as a clinician, the way that I've seen it. We need a massive roundtable conversation around mental health.
Why is it that when we come over here in the West, it becomes a major issue?
People are busy working or doing whatever, and then it becomes the awkwardness of, oh, what if someone finds out about your personal business? That's where the stigma comes in and the shame comes in. Like, let's say if I had a child and I heard or I see something's going on, I'll be fearful to share that with someone within the community out of fear of shame, of being labelled, oh, that person's son or daughter is not well. And unfortunately, we talk. We don't have that confidentiality. From what I've seen, it's the lack of education when it comes to the systems of how mental health works here. We cannot have a united Africa until we love one another. And my confusion about this has always been, Africa is the biggest continent that focuses on faith, lives on faith, breathes on faith. How do you love God if you can't have that unity within ourselves?
I've been reading the comments and DMs, and they are filled with beautiful messages about how much you've enjoyed watching and listening to these conversations, and how powerful the stories have been. But here's the problem. Over 90% of you watching are not yet subscribed, and I know you're watching. So please hit that subscribe button to join our podcast community and help us attain our goal of reaching 2,000 subscribers in the next 2 months. Thank you. Hello, Selam. How are you today?
I'm good. Better that I'm here today, Emmanuel. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Thank you for coming on the podcast again. It's always a pleasure having you around.
Thank you. It's a real honor, brother. Thank
Beautiful.
you so much.
Like, we're going to get straight into it. No time to waste. I'd like to first of all get to know you. For those that do not know who Selam is, in 1 minute, can you tell us who you are?
Oh, that's pressure. Right. So my name is Selam Tegegn. I originally came to Australia in 2003 under the humanitarian visa. So I came here with my parents and my brother. So there's 4 of us. When it comes to blood-related family, I have been here for a very long time, and I come from a family of advocacy, leaders, those who care about others, those who want to activate the community, activate, Pan-African communities within our blood. And my journey has been massive, to be honest with you. But main profession, being a health professional, I'm a clinician. I've worked in a number of health sectors in WA, from medical, surgical, education, training, mental health, drug and alcohol detox, case management, and a lot of the community work I've done that I think a lot of people have been a part of that journey. And that's because of the beautiful influence I've had. And also, massive thank you to the Perth women community from the Ethiopian community who have been the integral part of this movement today.
Beautiful. Thank you. I'm going to be touching a bit on those, drug, alcohol, mental health, and all of those stuff. Are you a mental health clinician, or which aspect of, I'm not in the medical field, so I need to educate me here.
Fine, no worries.
So is it like a specialty in that area?
Look, so when I first graduated, I had the opportunity to get a graduate program, and that graduate program included the opportunity to have medical, surgical, and mental health. So my graduate program looked like medical, surgical, stroke, and also mental health, which was for older adult health, and also mental health for the locked wards. So the locked wards are for those who are really unwell and need to be physically and very supervised very close by. And throughout my career, I have made sure that I've practiced in those areas because I've wanted to see what's going on with our people. How are we being cared for? And what is the stigma that we're having within the community when it comes to the proper healing journey for a lot of our people who go through mental health illnesses and the journey of, coping.
Why do you think that conversation around mental health is very important, very important, so needed now?
It's massive. That's a massive topic on its own, and it's a topic I've looked at from, first of all, a refugee perspective, because that's how we came. And the second bit is from the trauma, intergenerational traumas that we keep talking about as a topic, as a conversation, but what are we actually doing about it when it comes to processes? And it's a massive impact because you don't even have to be a refugee international students coming into an environment where you're not familiar about the processes, the systems, and then you'll have racial discrimination on top of that or lack of support. But, I commend Western Australia for the development of inclusivity, for the development of including, people like us on boards, the multicultural community. A lot of work has gone into it, but it's serious. It's detrimental to education, to work, if you're married, family, because what you go through at work impacts your relationship, children, what the children are going through in schools. And then we have, things like ADHD, autism, our people not understanding what those things are and how to manage them. So it's a massive topic. We could get really into it.
Before we go into all of those,
Yeah.
I'll go further this way, all right? Before we get into the business, the work, and all of other stuff, I wanted to ask you yourself personally, how are you doing yourself?
Look,
On a personal note, genuinely.
Yeah, for me, I've been a very honest person, and I think because I've been honest with not just people in my life, I've been honest with myself because I see the responsibility and the duty to show integrity first within yourself, because people are going to see who the real people are, right? So how am I today? I'm not going to lie to you and tell you I'm not tired, absolutely. But am I tired because I've been wasting time? No, I'm tired because I've been in meetings, phone calls, emergency situations, working on my own stuff at work, advocating, representing, having serious conversations, things like the Multicultural Act that we're currently working on and how that impacts our community. So overall, I've faced burnouts on multiple occasions, which, I've had anxiety for such a long time because of all the work that I do. And then you've got working in healthcare and the challenges that we face as Black health professionals. So, definitely anxiety, depression, you name it, all of it. But how have I coped with it is another topic on its own, which is, I think, especially as you know, East Africans in Ethiopia, Eritrea, we're very big on our religion, and our religion is the biggest thing. And I think for Africa itself, our faith keeps us together. And my faith, my family, my father, he's been my hero, he's been my advisor, he's been my support. Beautiful. And growing up from a beautiful household has really helped me to be where I am today.
You did mention the Multicultural Act. I saw that. I read a bit of it. Honestly, I'm still trying to understand what it's all about. And I'm very sure that many people like me that would like to understand what that act is. And it's something that's currently being worked on, I think, by the state government or the federal government?
Yeah, federal.
Federal government. Can you, in 1 minute, tell us what that's all about?
Look, so the whole purpose of the Multicultural Act is to bring that inclusivity for all the different types of the ethnic communities that we have. So we're categorized as CALD. And it's to ensure that we have a voice on legislation. And we need to come together and have those conversations, discussion groups to see what are the things that we actually need to have in the Act so that we can use the Act.
So what does the Act do?
The Act pretty much gives you the opportunity to activate things that come up within the community. So you can refer to the Act and say, well, at this point we have a clause that says we have an advisory body, or there's an inclusive part for those who are disabled within the CALD community. Who
enforces the Act?
The government essentially does, but there's processes. And I'm not fully aware of those processes, but I am aware of the majority aspect of it. But there has to be a communication for communities to know what's actually happening, what the Multicultural Act means, how it impacts us, what kind of conversations need to take place both in not just the African community, the Indian community, the Arab community, the Asian community. And it's essential because it concerns you and me. It concerns our children. It concerns our parents that are aging. It concerns every fragment of, especially our employment. And we need advisory bodies within those Multicultural Acts whom we can go to come an issue that can be our voice.
Thank you.
That had to be people like us. So there are processes. We are working on it. There's a lot that I can't say as well because there's a lot that I don't know fully about it and how far we're going to get into that. But I think it's a community responsibility, but it's also the community, I guess, we have OMI, government, leaders, organizations, the responsibility to ensure that these messages get right down to not just associations, but get down right to the communities, other organizations that are assisting migrants, et cetera, et cetera.
Thank you.
So it's to support us so that we're included. It's similar like the referendum, but obviously not as big as
Massive
that.
one.
But it's a tool for us that
Beautiful.
allows us to really settle within the system.
If your life had a theme, or a theme rather, for this season, what would it be?
If
your life had a theme for this season, what would that be on a personal note?
On a personal note, it would be honesty. I'm an honest person anyway, but I think there's a lot that people don't know about me as well, just because I do so much. I've been involved in so many things, and those that are close to me know the honest journey that I've been on. But there's other people that miss out on the real integrity of my journey. And community is my lifestyle. It's our lifestyle. It's the lifestyle of all my family around the world who are advocates in the US, in Sweden, across many, many countries, Ethiopia. And I don't know anything else other than a community and bringing us together and working on how, especially as diasporas and migrants. Because, Emmanuel, the thing is, we can't just talk about ethnics, CALD, our voice. We also have responsibility to assist the government in understanding our culture better, how we work better. And that means we need to be on many, many important roundtable conversations, and we need to be included on those tables. Yeah.
Now, if I were to take that question a step further, if you're going to define the season of your life in one word, what would that be?
Greatness.
Why so?
I've achieved a lot, and it's not by myself. I've had amazing people in my life who are direct successes, and also, they are shareholders of my greatness. They're shareholders of my success, because I did not become who I am today if I didn't have mentors. The first person who initiated me coming out into the community publicly is one of my aunties. Her name is Askale. I call her Chuchu. She's the one that brought me into a emotional intelligence session that was held at UWA by Organization of African Communities. And that's the first time. That was about, in 2019. And that's when my face was recognized. I was recognized. And to be honest with you, I made it because of OAC. The world knows me because of the work that I initially started doing as a director of public relations at OAC. And that's community. We're all OAC. Beautiful. I'm OAC, you're OAC. If you're an African in WA, we're all, because our journey is the same. We're all trying, and we're all going to hopefully do better.
Absolutely.
It's a learning experience.
So if I were to then ask you for a question, further to that one would be, what are, you most proud of about yourself that has nothing to do with your achievements?
Not giving up, to be honest, because I've had a lot of times I've cried behind the scenes. I've struggled where, the times I've never been accepted because of the threat that my presence has caused in a lot of environments. And it's sometimes made people feel I'm here to take something, or your seat or your position, or whatever the case may be. But really, I have nothing but great intentions. And to fight through that when you're wanting the best for people, when you're wanting the best for communities, because I'm fully accomplished in my career. I've got my career. I'm building on further education, master's and PhD. So I'm really here wanting to support the diaspora community here so that I can do some great work back in Africa, because we also have people back home that we cannot forget, and it's the fact that I've kept getting up, nursing shifts, 80 hours a fortnight. I've also worked in the union. It's a good fight, and I still come out. I show up to the best of my ability, sleep deprivation sometimes, sadness, depression. How do you give up when we have people that are really counting on us? Look at the suicide rate. Look at the international students. So I say, Salami, if you fall, you better get up, or stay there for a little bit. Take your time and get up when you're ready. And you need to have the right people in your circle who can say it's okay not to be okay, and check in on you. And I have those people.
What's your take on insecurity? And do you think are there things you
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
My leadership started with insecurities, not because I couldn't do it, because I felt at times I was misunderstood, or a lot of people spoke negative remarks about my movement, which was definitely negative. So that made me feel very insecure because I knew who I was. You know, I grew up in a family, in a household where I was told I was amazing since I was a little girl. I was called the boss when I was like 6, 7. My whole family knew that when Salam grows, she's going to be that girl that will run things, you know? So I knew that already. But just in the arena that we're in, it definitely had an impact on me, especially when you're out there just giving for the purpose of giving, especially in my political movement. I door knocked on many doors, and I did that because as a refugee, Australia chose me. Australia chose my family. So it was a duty for me, in my eyes, to say, I want to thank Australia in the way that I can. And I did the journey that I did.
You say your political journey. Have you run for any political public office?
No, I haven't, but I was selected to run for upper house.
Okay.
In the recent state election, I was prepared for the journey. It was an exciting journey. It was a very difficult journey as well because you had to fulfill so many requirements, and just to go through that experience of what politicians have to before they get onto the ballot was, for me, it was the biggest blessing that was given to me. And I can say that I made it. I made it in community. I've made it in politics. I've made it in healthcare. But that's because I never gave up. And that's because I've got people behind me who push me, who check in on me, and my mentors. And that's why I say to you, my greatness, they're shareholders. And I tell every single one of them, my success is because you were there, because you told me not to give up, because you advised me. And that's the legacy that I want to share with others. It's okay to have love between one another as Africans. Let's support one another. You're rich, great. I want to make someone else rich. I'm doing great.
Fair enough.
Mate, awesome. Why don't you join this group? Let's see how we can get you there. You know? That's
Beautiful.
the greatness I'm talking about.
Talk me through your experience with mental health. Is that personal as a nurse, patient, or a nurse, or
All of the above.
Let's start with your experience personally, as if you've
I would say
experienced it.
oh, definitely. I'll be lying to you if I said I didn't. And I think people in leadership cannot not have struggles with their mental health because you're dealing with people, right? You're listening to community. You're listening to concerns. There's no way you're not going to have anxiety and depression, sleepless nights, because you're working to ensure that a community is stable and that government is doing great things. And when I came out into the community to see the pressure that we have on our politicians as well, I'm like, how do they even get through this? The sittings in Parliament, when, you know, legislations and acts are getting passed, they're there sitting for hours, sometimes until past midnight. So for me personally, the journey from Ethiopia to Kenya as a young girl, not knowing what was going on, you know, seeing my parents in distress. My father was, you know, working as a sports commissioner, and he trained sports, traveled, doing that. My mum was an accountant from a very beautiful family, big family. My whole family is around the world. And then for that to reduce, and then for us to come to Kenya, lose what we had, and see my other side of the family lose what they had, it hurts you, puts, you know, trauma, right? And I don't want us to be associated with trauma because it's a label or a stigma. It's actually serious. You know, when you have to move from countries to countries and you have to constantly readjust. And the best time of my life was absolutely my home in Kenya. Kenya made me feel safe. But to see my parents, to see other Ethiopians go through the set of challenges they had to, and we were supported by our family that were living in Australia or in the US financially to get through. And you had to go to the United Nations and process your application to be believed that you're serious is great enough for you to be accepted by the Western world. And those processes was difficult to see what it did.
How old were you then?
Look, I would probably say 8. But I was very switched on. I was switched on from age 5. I knew exactly what was going on. So my whole family have always known that I'm very intuitive and I'm very aware. And I felt like I've also had to support and cheer my family through that process. Because it was, you know, going from a big home into a one-room home, getting through. We were lucky because a lot of people were in the, Kakuma refugee, and it was a challenge. So we actually had it okay when we were in Kenya. But settling in, learning the language, so I perfected my English, perfected my Swahili, spoke fluently, wrote, read, and it was a big community that we all had to support one another. Then everyone went to different parts of the world: Norway, Sweden, US, Australia, you name it. And Australia chose us, and here we are to tell the tale.
What is one thing that has changed your view on mental health? One experience.
The view, I did a podcast and I spoke I chose a topic that was so important to all of us, which was the shame and the stigma of even not only talking about it, accepting it. And my journey, even with mental health, is that journey itself, resettling again and again. When we came here, it was difficult because I didn't know who my neighbors were. But there was a case manager who walked us through getting a new home, processing us into settling into the home, and then we met the community. But we felt isolated, the isolation. And where we come from, we know our neighbors from suburbs away, let alone next door. So when you're coming in and out and you don't see your neighbor, but you see the cars coming in and out, you feel isolated, you feel lonely, and the level of depression, isolation, and even suicide, it's, we've had people that we've lost. So my thought with mental health has changed along the way because we've been through so much. You know what I mean? And we don't talk about it now that we've made it and we're here. But why not? And that's okay to talk about it. But our culture is a barrier to talking about mental health.
Why so mental? Is this cultural? Actually,
it's not cultural, but the culture is a barrier here, because where we come from back home, our grandparents and our ancestors have put measures in place. So we have a community. You have your neighbors from next door to the other. There's mechanisms. We have faith. So we don't tend to have these significant issues as we do in the Western world within mental health. And if you do, you'll have religious practices or spiritual practices that will, support you in that so that you can get better. But it's so significant here because of the racial part and the discrimination part, and you're expected to be amazing because family brought you here. They expect you to be educated, to have your house, to have your life going. So if there's any mental health issue, it becomes, are you ungrateful? Or are you not praying? Are you not talking to your Lord? But that's not the matter of the fact. Anyone can have mental health issues. And it starts with fear. It starts with anxiety. It starts when you're not eating, when you're lacking to take care of yourself, when you're lacking to have a shower. It takes you a week or two. You're not sleeping. You start relying on alcohol, substances. Then your behavior changes, aggression, or end up in criminal activities. So mental health has changed, especially as a clinician, the way that I've seen it. We need a massive roundtable conversation around mental health.
Why do migrants struggle? I don't want to believe that people back home in Africa or whatever countries we've come from do not suffer from mental health.
Oh, they do.
But why is it that when we come over here in the West, it becomes a major issue?
Because we're busy.
Well, what's so
Everyone's
busy
working.
back home?
I know. So this is like in the structure of here, people are busy working or doing whatever. And then it becomes the awkwardness of, what if someone finds out about your personal business? That's where the stigma comes in and the shame comes in. Like, let's say if I had a child and I heard or I see something's going on, I'll be fearful to share that with someone within the community out of fear of shame, of being labeled or, that person's son or daughter is not well. And unfortunately, we talk. We don't have that confidentiality. And it's not to blame us. It's just, it is what it is. And I think from what I've seen, it's the lack of education when it comes to the systems of how mental health works here in Australia, what it means. Because to understand mental health, you need to know you have a mental health issue, accept it, go through the appropriate processes and systems. You can get a basic mental health care plan from your GP that can get your psychology review. But it's just a conversation. If your son cannot come to you as a father and say, Dad, I'm not doing well, who's to blame there? Really, no one. You're also busy, you're doing your thing, you're trying to be a father, you're trying to be a husband to your wife. But as a community, we need to make it serious. And that's why things like, I want to bring the Mentor Me Reconnect program that I was a mentor within OAC, and we developed that program when I was there at the beginning, is for the simple fact, when I was a student at school, we felt lonely. We did not feel like we were a part of the rest of the school, but the school tried to do their best in the way that they could. So I went to Perth Modern High School. You had the tertiary high school and also the rest of the musical school on one side, and we had the migrants on the other side. But we still mixed, but our education was differently provided, so that it can best well equip us to transitioning into the country. But because we didn't look like them, we didn't behave like them, it affected us. So if there was a Mentor Me Reconnect that time and there was a mentor, let's say you came and you introduced yourself to me, had a chat with me, or if a female sister came, it makes a massive impact because the mental health really begins there. You know, our parents go off at us if we're not doing great at school, but do you know the challenges that happens at school? You are African when you're home. You're not African when you leave the house. You are Australian African. What are the challenges there? It's conversations needs to be had, and that's what you're doing. This is what we need, Emmanuel.
Have you heard the term high-functioning depression?
Oh, absolutely. I probably might be it too, to be quite honest with you.
What are the symptoms? What does it look like? Let's start in real life.
Okay, so let's divide depression and high functioning first. High functioning is pretty much me. Look what I've done all this time. Sometimes I look at myself and I'm like, how did I even do this? I go back and I look at my social media and I think, when did I sleep? When did I do this? When did I even... And I have families and friends that call me and say, Selam, make sure you sleep, make sure you rest. Have you done this? Have you done that? High functioning is when you also have a personal goal and a vision of trying to achieve whatever that is. That's individual to everyone, right? So for me, I've gone about it the way that I have, which is I wanted to give back to Australia to say thank you for what you did for me, my family and my community, and the African diaspora and international, whatever it is that Australia has done in the way that my heart has felt, that's how I moved. Very high functioning. I'm working, I've got community, I've got my personal things, and I'm also trying to have a break in through all that. And then when you put depression, is when you are flat inside yourself. Sometimes you don't even believe that what you're doing is even real. You can't sleep. You are faking it when you're out there with everyone else. But when you come home, you're in tears and no one knows that you're going through that depression. Depression is not being able to eat, not being able to sleep. It's anxiety. It's losing trust in yourself. But still fighting when you're high functioning, you have that bit, and sometimes it can be categorized with ADHD, ADD, so that pushes you to move forward. And there's the stigma as well. Our families are not all aware about ADHD and ADD and all these other things. And that's a conversation that I think should be included, because the school system in Australia or in WA, it's not designed for us as in you and me and others. So we have to be a part of that change. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then the way that you're educated, or the way that I'm educated, or the way that a simple Australian young child is educated is not going to be the same, because we have a journey. We were not born here. Even if you were born here, it's different. So with the depression thing, the lack of maybe not being able to work, or let's say not showering, not eating, but you're still functioning because you have a goal and you have a vision. So it's such a detrimental thing. And knowing to have people to speak to, having support, seeking a GP for psychology, psychiatric support, it's okay. But you need to have someone to tell you that it's okay to do all those things, which we lack.
Thank you. Thanks for that. I do, however, based on what I read, I was reading about, to be honest, we've all had to go through this. High-performing depression being a response to fear, and anxiety. So the fear of the unknown, fear of whatever it is, the
Failure.
future, fear of failure and all this stuff. And oftentimes you tend to take on some of these adventures, not adventures, but do some of these things because you're afraid of failing, afraid of what someone else is going to say, afraid of, the future. You understand.
Yeah.
Why do you think that it's a big issue?
Because I think our culture has a lot of rules and expectations. And those expectations come from what I've studied and observed to the best of my ability. It comes from religion and culture and tradition. So it's mixed. So our parents have had certain expectation from their parents. So that comes down to us. But the difference is those cultures, traditions, and values, they have to be reduced here, because we're already under a high pressure cooker already as it is, because we need to assimilate. And the challenges that we face in schools, working, when you're out there on the road. I've almost been run over by so many different drivers who've just been not the best of drivers, or who are racist, to be honest. Let me just call it like that. And that trauma that creates in you is heartbreaking. Then go to work. The stuff that people go through at work, because we have great work ethics. We are serious about our job. We are determined. We want to do great work. We are committed to our work. And that has caused intimidation in the corporate world, healthcare, education, anywhere you name it. And those challenges, I'll be surprised if, I can't say that no one has mental health issues, honestly.
Actually, stats says 40% of Australians suffer
What does
or
it tell
live
you?
in mental. It means we're currently about 27 million.
Yeah,
So half of that number, well,
not even, yeah.
close to half of that number
It's serious.
had to deal with mental health at some point.
Yeah, it's serious. And where I was going about this whole culture thing is, so our parents are going to expect us to reach a certain success because they've brought us here. That's their perception. And they have every right to think like that. Like, especially for the refugee category, a lot of people have gone through hell and have been in the camp, in Kakuma camp, for years, waiting to be processed. What is the need to prove that you have come from a displaced country? How do you even need to prove that when the system knows that? But unfortunately, that's the reality. So you have people broken that are trying to make their life whilst they haven't even healed. Just because you live in a beautiful home, you have a car, you dress well, you look good, that doesn't mean you're healthy. What about the broken part of you?
What about anxiety disguised as ambition? So people, it's still closely related to
High functioning.
high functioning
Yep.
and depression, where people chase stuff. And looking up all of this while preparing for this, I see myself having been there at some point where you're
Likewise, yeah.
overly ambitious, but not because you're actually ambitious, but because
A lot of us go
you're
through
running
that.
from something.
It's running from something. It's also running towards something. The pressure of being successful at a top level, or successful more than your peers or others within the, which is okay. I mean, there has to be healthy competition. Like for me particularly, like I'm happy for you with what you're doing. This is great. You're giving us an opportunity to speak about not only our stories, but it's everyone's story, right? So what does it mean for those that are not speaking? Do you know how many people are out there who are homeless in our community, who've lost hope, or who are stuck with drug issues? And the parents don't understand what's going on with them because they've labeled them as whatever. But they're misunderstood because they grew up here. So the question is not who do we blame. The question is, when are we going to really sit down and talk about these things, right? And we just had a roundtable discussion where the women organised it at OAC, which I was absolutely impressed with. And I'll tell you the reason why. You won't believe the conversation that they were having. There was a panelists, okay? And they had completed the A-Lead program a few years ago. They were all parents, and there was a couple of priests as well, which were women. To see and to hear how the parents said that raising our children in Australia cannot be like raising them in Africa. I said to them, congratulations that you've now reached where we need you to understand. You cannot raise us the way you were raised, or the way you think kids get raised in Africa, because even now, the children, they're not raised like the way that we think they are. And the discussion topics were in how the parents should be speaking to the children, how they should be believing them, how they should be addressing them. Emmanuel, that conversation, I said, we need a repeat of this. I want to hear the father's side, and I want to hear the children. I want them to hear what they're going to say, to hear our African parents finally saying that we need to change our ways, because you're losing your children to drugs, you're losing your children to mental health. You can't be stigmatized and stuck in that position, a way of thinking, because I get it, it's hard. Our confidentiality in our culture is so sensitive, but we need to hold each other's hands and make this happen, because it's serious. It's so serious that I'm so glad I'm here to talk about it, because the disconnect between parents and the children and the challenges that the children face once they leave home, either at school, at work, we cannot come back and tell our parents this is what we're going through, because firstly it will distress them, or they will not believe you. Then there might be physical or domestic abuse. So where do we get it right, even though we've come here? So we need to help ourselves first.
How do parents, you just raised a very important subject here. Well, I'm a parent.
Aspiring parents.
Aspiring parents. And of course, we've got quite a few parents watching this. But one very important conversation, where I believe parents struggle a lot with, is understanding that, look, this child is born here or currently being raised here.
Yeah.
The values I do believe, the kind of values we believe we should be instilling in these children isn't the same as the value we're raised up with. So I'll give you an example. So we were taught how to respect kids, okay? How to respect elders. See an elder, you call them uncle, auntie. You, for the Nigerian, go
same,
down, you
likewise,
greet and all the stuff.
Yeah.
And then you grow up here, or you're raising your kid here, and you're asking your kid to do the same, and then you're looking at your friends. This guy doesn't kneel down to greet, doesn't ever call anybody an uncle anyway. He doesn't kneel down to greet. So how do you then reconcile what the parent is saying at home and what he or she, the kid, is saying outside? How do parents communicate that?
See, that is a question in the conversation that needs to happen, because I see this with so many parents and children. I've also been in an environment where I've raised a lot of other people's children, because that's our community. That's how we are. Do you know what I mean? The challenges that I have seen for myself through being a mentor, both on and off privately, is that the parents have to, if you want to instill these cultures for the children that are born here, you need to do it right at the beginning. You cannot leave it later and then trying to catch them.
Well, how do the parents know how to do this? Because many of them came in here as adults, older adults.
That's exactly what I've been trying to say, isn't it? That's the disconnect that we're having. So let's use this as a case study example. I wasn't born here, but I came here when I was 13 or something, right? I had a great upbringing, really, truly. My parents brought me up really, really well, and I thank them. And I am who I am because of my family. There's literally nothing to it. However, not everyone has a good home. Not everyone has a peaceful home. Not every child comes from a peaceful home. So the question comes that when you are in a relationship with the person that you're in, what is your priority in that marriage when you're going to have your children? And I feel there is no counseling prior to marriage where we come from. Counseling in the sense, maybe bring elders, have a conversation around the challenges that come in marriages. How are you going to raise these kids? Especially here, we should be holding forums and conversations about, if you have a child with ADHD, who do you go to? What do you do? What are grants that are available? What do you want to prioritize in your child's life when it comes to culture, heritage, tradition? We have so many associations, so many organizations, but how are they being involved in the communities, in the lives of parents to run these things and to discuss these things? If we're not feeling safe in our own communities, how can the parents feel safe to raise their children? Like you and I. Where do we go? What do we do? Do you know what I mean? It's that serious that it will affect their children. It will affect their generation. And that's why prioritizing what we really want to teach our children is so important, because there has to be a balance of understanding the Australian culture and a little bit of the African culture, but just don't overdo it. You know, keep it basic, have rules, implement those things a little bit early, don't leave them too late, because once children go to high school and they start seeing things, it is very late. Our parents are busy working. You and I, we're busy working. Then we're worried about community, or we're involved in so many things. So where do you draw the line? What are the priorities? But parents need to trust their children a bit more. You cannot just be like a law enforcer all the time and be dishing out rules if you're not going to let the child actually process it. And you have to be friend to your child. I grew up being my best mate to my father because he allowed me to be his friend. He would ask me to advise him because we created a friendship. So that's where we need to be friends with our children. They need to feel safe to come to us, but we need to make it safe for them to come to us. We can't be too strict the way our parents and forefathers were. It's just not the environment. It's not conducive.
Thank you.
Your child will end up falling off a bridge or in the beach. It's happened. I've seen it. I don't want to see that. And that's why I've been on this journey. I see it as a clinician. I see it from a community's perspective, from my own community, from other people's community. I'm exhausted from attending funerals, Emmanuel, when we know we could do something about it. Even the cops, they're trying. But we need more numbers. We need more people. We need more leaders. We need more elders. We need to have more roundtable conversations, because if we can't save ourselves, no one is going to save us, truly and genuinely. I know it's deep, but
It's a deep one.
facts.
Thank you.
I'm not even joking.
I'll take this conversation further, but I'll go back to a question I asked you earlier, just to follow up on that. So how do we then differentiate between healthy ambition and fear-driven ambition?
It's your upbringing and your journey first and foremost. So you came here as an international student, correct?
Yeah.
So your journey and my journey would not be the same. Your ambition would be to get your education and do something about it with your education, which is work, etc., etc. My ambition is to have peace first, you know, to feel safe in the environment that I'm in the home, to see my family at peace, to see my community at peace, and then make opportunities through the education and employment journey. That's the difference from those two categories if we were to use a case study. But the difference between international students and us would be we're always in fear to be amazing. Are we going to fail? Are we going to disappoint the family here, or disappoint the family back home, or potentially disappoint the system as well? And then doing that through exhaustion. Sometimes you don't even believe yourself, but you're just pushing. And then you have all the other obstacles that are there along the way. So look at that ambition, and then look at that, as we call it, PTSD, post-traumatic, and there is severe post-traumatic. There is major depression, but where everyone is living with it, because a lot of people get through this through their religion, through their faith, but deep down, you have broken people. Even as international students, you have your challenges, because you come here and you don't know anyone, you don't know how the system works. And then what about the worries that your parents have? You know, are you okay? Are you safe? Have you eaten? And then you're restricted to a small amount of hours to work and make money, because you also don't want your parents to be paying for the whole thing, right? Yeah. So look at the challenges.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll take this a bit further.
Go for it.
I'll take this a bit further.
Oh, take it easy,
The
though.
mental health, it affects pretty much everything we do, how we relate to people, interact, how we find love and attach with people. I wanted to ask you this question. I wasn't sure I asked you. We've talked about this before. We've had quite a few conversations.
Yeah.
You know, talk to me about relationship, personally, finding love. You're single, I understand. Are you dating, first of all?
Oh, the special people, don't worry around. Potentials.
Potentials?
Yes.
How's that? Are you receiving currently?
You have to find out.
How to find out?
Yes.
Talk to me about finding love.
Look, I'm not going to say that I've never been in love. I'm a woman of love. I've had a lot of people that love me more probably than I have fallen in love with, only because I've been on this journey of high-functioning woman where I've been focused on trying to be perfect for my family, trying to be perfect for the community, or trying to complete my ambition for where I want to go.
Yeah.
And it has been difficult because I've kind of blinded myself to love in a lot of sense, because I said, look, I'm at work. I've got to be somewhere. But I have had people who've interested in, proposals in marriages, as we do in our culture, which I have declined a fair few, only because it would get in the way of my success.
What? So
Or in the work, I mean,
work.
rather. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people. So I used to be the youth secretary for my local community, Nigerian Association. And being in that position, I met a lot of young people, amazing people. And I'm saying to myself, okay, it would be good for you guys to get to know each other.
Yeah.
And then the guys obviously are ready to mingle. I've met a lot of guys have said to me they need to find their significant half.
Yeah.
And I say to them, look at this lady. She's an amazing lady and not just one. Talk to this XYZ.
Yeah, matchmake.
Yeah. I mean, it's not necessarily matchmaking, just introduction and then whatever
but that's
happens.
what it is.
Okay,
That's what
if
we
you call it
But the
matchmaking,
intention
then
there is that you try and connect people.
connect
right?
people together.
Yeah.
And then the lady is saying to me, oftentimes, 90% of the time, see, they're not ready. They've got XYZ boxes to tick. And I'm
Yeah.
asking myself, you're 24, you're 25. You want to tick these boxes? This is Australia. Why are you wasting time? Why not tick these boxes along with this person you're going to be with?
Yeah.
And then my question to you is, do you think waiting to tick those boxes has in a way affected your ability to find love?
Oh my gosh, that's a definite yes. I do have someone special in my life, and
Currently? Or?
yeah,
Okay, beautiful.
yeah.
Go ahead.
And you have to have people that are going to push you for greatness. But I have sacrificed many years of not having to be in a relationship, because my journey has been about education, employment, and giving back to community in Australia, so that I can do other greater things in other areas. So I haven't really been like, oh, I want to be in a relationship, or I want to be in love, or it's never been a thing in my head. But I've had a lot of people who've showed interest, who've tried, which I've blocked, not because I wanted to tick any boxes. If anything, I've wanted to be a mother for a very long time. I've wanted to have 10 children and have a big family, because I come from a big family. Do you know what I mean? But because my goal and my vision has been so far and so big since I was 14, I'm 35 now. This journey didn't begin yesterday for me. It began when I came in Australia. So it's so serious. It's a personal affair that I have with it. So a lot of people do want to tick boxes, who've either grown up here or who have come here. But also the question comes, how do people get to know one another before they become into a relationship, and then the next bit into marriage? Because, when you get married, it's the family that gets married. It's not just you and the wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen a lot of challenges between families maybe not getting along, but people have fallen in love. And there's also this thing of, what I've noticed, I don't know what other people may say, there's a lot of casual relationships or casual expectations where we are. It might be normal to the culture, maybe, I don't know. But, we have a lot of Africans here. Why don't we get together? Why don't we be honest with one another and get into a family? We're already here. Our journey's not that different. But why are we not good enough for one another? Why can we match make within our community? Do you know what I mean? And I think it's sad. It really is. But I wish I could answer that for you, but I haven't been in that category because I've been busy with my hustle. But I see it. And there is checklists, especially for the young women who are so successful, who are beautiful, who have done great things. Men are feeling intimidated. Men are feeling weak, that they might not be accepted. And of course, women have their criteria as well, and certain things that they want the men to reach. You know what I mean? I'm not going to lie and sit here and tell you I haven't been approached by men from my own country. I have been, but they've also kind of wasted my time, and I've been messed around a little bit, and I said, oh no, we are not doing that. So if our people are not choosing us when we're educated, we're successful, we're great, but you want to go back home, bring someone else, then for that marriage to fail, humiliate yourself, try it here.
But couldn't it be also that for the young men, not speaking for anyone,
Yeah.
but for the young men, couldn't it be also that, so everybody, today, the way we define marriage and relationships entirely changed from the way
Yeah.
we see marriage, our parents saw
Absolutely.
marriage and things like that. For many people, it's more of a contract in
Yeah.
certain ways or a business agreement in certain ways, all right? Now you've gone ahead, you've done these many things. You've acquired this knowledge, education, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, so much.
You know, for instance, for the guy, he's done this much well for himself. And then this lady, you're approaching a lady, you want to get married to a lady, and then this is looking at herself, look, what do I bring to this? I want to go do the same for myself.
Yeah.
So then when we come together, we're meeting each other at this. But the guy
Level.
doesn't want you there. The guy wants, culturally, I want to be the guy providing for the
Correct,
home
yeah.
while you take care of the home,
Yeah.
which is the case with many of our parents
Correct.
and the way the culture has always been. But coming over, you then realize, no, the ladies want to up their game as well, which is not bad.
Yeah.
You understand? But then also in upping their game, now the guy is feeling, okay, now we're all rubbing shoulders now. You understand? We're all rubbing shoulders.
It takes the masculinity
Away from him. He's feeling
Yeah,
intimidated. And
yeah.
so then he has to,
That's the issue I've
some
faced
people
for years.
go home there, let me go get somebody I can talk to
Yes.
and things like that. I don't know how this whole thing plays out, to be honest, but I do think personally, regardless of who has achieved so much or whatever have achieved what and haven't achieved anything, I do think the best time to get into a relationship as a young person is when you're still building. All right?
Yeah.
When we're all not
And
on
like
the
a
floor,
bare
we're
minimum.
just
Yeah.
coming up.
Yeah.
And so we're building together because at the end of the day, life happens to everyone. We're all going to grow. We're all going to achieve whatever it's going to achieve. But then you'll probably do better together
Yeah.
than doing it.
Absolutely. That's how our
yourself.
parents did it, though.
Yeah.
They had nothing and they grew up together.
They grew up together.
Yeah.
Because for many young ladies as well, I've seen many young ladies as well, when they've now done all this stuff, and it's now time to, okay, let's settle down, look for someone.
Yeah.
It's not hard to find somebody. And then I have a lady talked to me the other day, and she wants to, of course, she's been here for a while, she's done all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And now she wants to. Of course, over here, I do say to people, look, there are not many guys here. Most of the guys here, they're looking back home. And so what she's trying to get somebody from back home, I was like, I'm not sure how that's going to work for you.
It's harder for women than it is for men,
I'm
unfortunately.
not sure how it's going to work for you. It doesn't look like it's going to, because the guy's looking like it.
Yeah.
Doing all
It's
that
a real issue, to be honest. And I have to say, I have sensed it for myself, but it was just never a priority for me, to be honest with you, just because I'm so focused on where I want to go that's never been my thing, personally.
Have you regretted any of those?
No, look, no, I haven't regretted because when I made my sacrifice and I created my journal or journals of how I wanted to go about things, I had already accepted and decided, spoken with the family, and I knew the commitment and the work that I was going to do. It couldn't work because I have to be home. I've got to do things in the house. As a woman, I'll have my responsibilities, isn't it? And it's not to say that I don't want to. I do want to, but then again, my success has become so much that it does intimidate a lot of men. You know, you need a special person. And it's taken a while to find that special person who just accepts me as normal rather than accept me with the success that I've... And this success, Emmanuel, let me tell you, is through volunteering. That's the best part about this. It has given me more income than my job income, volunteering and doing all the work that I've done. And this is where I think it's very hard for our young women right now, especially who grow up here or who are born here. You see a lot of successful women. So we have our men who are intimidated by that, or the women will have such high expectations that it's so ridiculous. So it's like, what do you want? Do you want to be married, or what do you know? If I was to speak to everyone, but then again, you'll think of the brother here who genuinely has done his best in his category. But then it's like, what are our priorities? So this is where the crisis of not just identity, but there is the intercultural crisis as well of diasporas.
If you were speaking to a young lady that feels her achievements, accomplishments is intimidating. So, of course, the male counterpart, what would that advice be? And is it okay for these young men or these young men to feel that way?
I think we just need to go to $1 million matchmaking, Emmanuel. I don't know how to even answer that. But in all honesty, I think my advice would be for me personally, yeah, I just like the simple things in life. I might not look simple or might not do
You
simple
don't look
things.
simple.
But if you know me on a personal level, I'm a minimalist. I don't like a lot of things in the house. I like to keep things simple because I want the energy to flow. I want to be able to think. I want to be able to hear my spirit, my thoughts. And I like balance. I don't like too much of anything. It has to be not just right. It just has to have that equilibrium. So my advice to a lot of the young women is try and find, if it's like a counterpart partner for possible marriage, do it internally with people that you know. Be safe. I'll give you an example with the Arab community and the Muslims. They marry amongst one another in the sense within their culture, within the people that they know and family. Why do they do that? First of all, your wealth remains in the family. Second of all, if anything happens, the families will talk and unite the couple. If you're married from different cultures, who's there? Tell me. The other side of the family say, well, we told you so. Do you know what I mean? So I really worry about our young women right now. I used to be worried for myself as well. But for me, I made that decision that it was okay, even if it wasn't going to be, that I was very okay with it because my journey is, so much has happened. I want to give back. God has given me so much. I've been blessed in Australia. But let's have that fair conversation where, do we need to create a matchmaking program, Emmanuel? No, I'm not even joking, for real though.
Okay.
Because then if anything happens, well, come talk to us. We will be the elders.
So then, is it okay for the guys to feel the way they feel, intimidated?
Look, I think that would be an answer to the individual men and in how they were brought up. Because we're not just saying men that feel intimidated, they're also very confident men who are very successful. But it comes down to, are you having the conversations that you really need? So people go out on dates. For me, I feel like dating is just a waste of time. Only because, look at the journey I'm on. Imagine the work that I've been doing. Do I look like I have time for dating? I want to sit there and bloody talk about who I am, what I'm doing. Excuse me, I got things to do.
So how did you find the special?
Next episode, baby.
No, we got to talk about it.
Oh, we'll talk about it. We will. And it is through community as well. Because it's the work that I do that has brought that love for me. And I'm so grateful. And, it's when you do good and you look out for people and you do good for people, God thinks of you. Oh, believe me, I have been chased. That is not even the issue here. The fact of the matter is, how are we going to ensure that within the proper age category, our brothers and sisters are going to be married and they can have their family? I have chosen something because I'm on a mission of my own personal mission. And I have had a lot of people within the community who have been worried about that, and including my parents. They say, Salam, when are you going to settle down? Don't you want to have kids and stuff? But they know how stubborn I am because I've been on this thing for so long because of the stuff that I've seen. It's had an impact on me.
What do you need more in your life at this moment? What do you need more in your life at this moment?
To be honest, just peace of mind.
What is peace of mind?
Peace of mind is silence. Absolute silence. And the way I achieve that is I love the ocean. Fishing is something that I love doing. Going for a walk, hiking, the beach, the bridge. It's my favorite thing. It's a place to go to. I need to go for a walk. And that's why I say to you, I'm a minimalist because I want to be able to meditate and think. Faith is very important to me. Good friends who are healthy for me. I've got many mentors in different categories. So this person you sit here, there's a trust account that needs to be open because there's many shareholders. Let me tell you this. I did not get here by myself. And I want to thank everyone that's been on this journey with me because, Emmanuel, success does not happen on our own. If you
couldn't fail, rather, it's a personal question. If you couldn't fail, what would you attempt?
There are times I didn't feel. I've been numb.
What would you attempt if?
Do you know what I do when that happens? So I have a routine when I get home. I put meditation on. I have an incense burner. I put that on because I want to clear. I want that smell is good for mental health. So when you have oils, things that smell good, that look good, make you feel good, right? So I have a frame of the people that I love. I put my incense burner. The meditation is on. Put the AC on. Make sure there's no clutter. There's no nonsense around. I lay down before I have a shower and pray. I lay down, close my eyes, listen to that meditation. Sometimes it could be music. Sometimes it could be a religious recitation. It could be whatever it is that I'm feeling at that time when I'm numb. I lay down and I just look at the ceiling and just absorb what I'm hearing so I can hear myself think. And then I close my eyes. I might sleep or I might wake up. It just depends. And it's worked just perfect for me. Or I go for a walk with a bit of music. I used to do a lot of hip-hop dancing and a bit of DJ and all that before, going to uni and all that. So hip-hop, R&B, rap has been a massive culture of, getting me through my younger days. And I love music, and I actually want to bring music and dancing for the youth to get them excited, to make them happy, so that you need to build trust with your children. If your children cannot trust you as a parent, you've failed. And that's what I've seen. Is because it's just rules after rules, expectation. Just checking on your child randomly, like, how are you? You okay? Knock on their door if you're in the bedroom, just checking. Because they'll be like, oh, you just came to check on me. Because there's always a reason. Our parents, if they're going to do something, there's a reason. That's fear. But they don't intend on putting that fear into us either. So we have two sides of the spectrum. And that's why I speak to you today from personal experience, and also from what I've seen, from what I've experienced as a mentor, from what I've seen in the hospitals, just from everything. There is no one to blame, is the point. But we have a responsibility to sit down together and really have conversations. Because if I'm successful, I want you to be successful. If it's worked for me, I want to tell you how it worked for me. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to be envious of someone who's doing great. Show me. If you don't want to show me, that's fine. No worries. We'll move along. But if we can't grow together, just look at the way the Jews have been successful. They've been united for so long. They've built before we've even known that they've been building. Look at Israel. If we were to really talk on facts.
Yeah.
So if we cannot come together and be like, what I want for you, what you want for me, there's no way we're going to solve any problem. If we can't be honest either.
Is there, so I did ask this question to one of our previous guests, if this time, Africa unite, if it's actually achievable, considering the fact that Africa, as a continent coming together, that geographical location called Africa wasn't really intended to be together. It was all a business transaction for the colonizers at the time. Multiple cultures, multiple languages, they were all blacks.
Yeah.
Do you think, honestly, that's
grilled
possible?
Today. You're grilling me, Emmanuel. I have a lot of opinion on that. Look, I think it's a positive. It's a positive way of thinking, or hopeful.
Hope.
It's a hopeful way of looking at things.
Hopeful.
Yeah.
But it's not actual.
I'm not saying it's not, but what I'm saying it's a positive energy. It's a positive light. I love that people feel like that about it. But if you want to get into fundamentals of anything, are we united? Do I love what I have for you, and do you love what you have for me? We cannot have a united Africa until we love one another. And my confusion about this has always been, Africa is the biggest continent that focuses on faith, lives on faith, breathes on faith. How do you love God if you can't have that unity within ourselves? And I start that with my own country, by the way. You've seen it. We are obsessed with religion in my country. Like, that's all we think and breathe about. And I love it, and it's helped me get through life. But we also separated into, and then moved that into the rest of the continent. So how are we going to be united? Explain this to me.
So in your
It's a
own,
great message. It's a hopeful message. I love it. If it's helping people get through, if it's giving our young Africans out there hope, mate, you go with it until we get there and help you get there. That's how I see it.
but then it's one thing to hope for this to happen. It's another thing entirely for that to be a possibility.
Yeah.
I honestly, personally, yeah, it's good. Love your brother as yourself and all the stuff.
It scares me, to be honest
But yeah,
with you.
because in our individual countries as well, to be honest, we still have issues. I will speak for my own country.
Exactly.
We still have the many discrimination, ethnic issues going on here and there.
Same.
You understand? So if you can't unite as a country, how then do you want to unite the continent?
And then it goes back to the leadership of African leadership.
So
And
it's
then
not-
it goes back to who is funding the African leadership.
So it's essentially, fundamentally impossible for Africa to unite.
But you need the message because hope is important. Hope gives people to survive. Hope makes people
But that's also
live.
that's also one of the problems we have, where you hope for things to happen, but we all know it never happens. It's just
That's why Salam is on
being
this
so jealous.
mission, Emmanuel, this never-ending mission. But then we can't do it without each other. But then again, we also don't need to make
I'd
noise.
rather say, personally, I'd rather say, look, love your neighbor as yourself. Do to your neighbor as you will
do
for
to
yourself. If you love your neighbor the way you love yourself, forget about Africa Unites or whatever unites.
Exactly.
Life will be better for everyone.
Exactly.
I don't want to flock too much on that issue because that's
No,
different. whole
but it's so
conversation. Yeah.
it's so important because it's where we're gonna go. Where do we go on holidays to see our family? We go home. I just want to touch on what about the challenges that we face when we go home on visas, visa processing. Like that's a conversation by itself. But why do we have to struggle to go back? When I mean we, I'm not just talking about myself. Like, there's no visa issue. I've never had a visa issue. I'm just saying I know other people have. And there are celebrities who now have finally pushed buttons and have made it and now are diplomats and can travel peacefully because they've gone in and fought and hard and hard and hard. So, if we're to blame anyone, it's right at the top of the crown. But my thing is, do we need to step in and support our African leaders and guide them? Will they allow us? Because now that we're well equipped, why don't we step in? How can we work with you? I'm not trying to be a diplomat. If I am, great. Why not? But I'm going to help you be in that position that you're in so we can bring greatness to the country. That is Africa Unite.
Selam, what are you giving up this year to be a better person?
Time.
Explain.
Personal time. As you know, I've finally come back home to OAC as the Vice President of Administration and Finance. And it's very serious for me this time because I want community to take advantage of our organization. And I want us to unite. It's going to take time. We need to rebuild trust. We need to rebuild love. But as a community, my concern is for the parents, the kids, and the seniors. Look at our aging parents. What happens to them when we're not around? Right? Let's say if they have a heart attack, they have a stroke. Tell me, where is there an emergency? Do they have a duress that they can press? What if they call me and I'm not able to answer because I'm at a meeting or I'm at work? Do we have processes and systems in place? So that's the personal time that I have decided to give up on this term, that I support the president, the executive board members, and everyone that is in OAC, because now I come back with a lot of experience, thanks to Labour, thanks to United Workers Union. That's because I went in and I gave back for Australia to say thank you. But I ended up getting so much more. I'm just like, what do I do with all this? I want to give it. I want to share my skills. I want to educate so that people can go and share it as well. Because there can't be a one Salam, surely. I've been on this journey for so long. I need some help. I want people to come on this board, and on this ship and just move with me, walk with me. Then go and do your own thing. You want to open a business? Sure, great. Let's see how we can help you with that. It's a big dream, but I was brought up with love. I come from a family, a community of love. The community of my family community is full of love. And I think this is a really great opportunity for people to know Selam, because it's been hard. It's been hard being in places where, people think you are here to take their position, or you're not like having integrity, or you're not an honest person, or you're here, whatever it is that I've heard, which for me, if I ever cared about negative remarks, I wouldn't be sitting right here, Emmanuel. Because when you know who you are, when you've been raised by amazing parents in such a manner that you love yourself, nothing will touch you. But,
finish up.
But what about everyone else? We have a lot of kids who don't have... Because if you do not... As they say, wisdom and charity starts from home, and not every home is peaceful. So if your home is not great, it affects the rest of society. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like this is such an important thing that we need to have forums. We need to have conversations. We need to call one another. Please check in on each other. It doesn't have to be about, are you okay, or mental health day. Everyone's busy texting. What's with this texting? Send a voicemail. Call your people. Call your friend. You don't know what depression someone is facing, or financial, whatever. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Absolutely. On a final note, Selam, in 30 seconds, what is one thing you know now you wish you knew earlier?
The importance of how to network.
How's that changed you?
Big time. It's changed how I move, which has been hard, which it didn't need to be. But I got the message, which I thought, why do I need to look pretty? Why do I need to be a graduate? You know what I mean? Why do I need to have something? Or why do I need to know how to speak or write or have a certain type of social media or be? Why does anyone need to know about any of my titles for you to give me an opportunity for you to work with me? Why can't we just sit each other on face value, have a conversation, and let our conversation be the determining factor of how we can collaborate?
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure having you on this podcast, Selam.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
It's been an
Hope you
honor.
had as much fun as I did.
I have. Oh, he grilled me, but it's the best hot seat. That's what you should call this seat. The next person better be ready.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you as well, Emmanuel. I think, giving us an opportunity to share our voices, our stories, is an essential part of assimilating. This is assimilating.
Thank you.
Right? And you have done such an outstanding work, because if you couldn't do it, I don't know who else would have been able to do it. And also, while we're here, I just want to thank all the amazing people who've been in my life, who've been my friends, who've been my mentors, who've been my guide, my parents, and, Chuchu, which is our scholar who is from the Perth women Ethiopian community, who's been a great asset for me to be where I am. So there's a lot, but I just want to say thank you.
Awesome.